Okay, so we should be live now. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Anna Pepperdine, and I'm the nutrition consultant for Choices Market at our Kelowna location. My team and I offer complimentary nutrition education in our stores across BC, which you can book through our website. I would also like to mention that if you've attended the seminar, you are eligible for a nutrition buck, which is a $10 off coupon off of a $50 or more purchase. A survey link will be sent to you at the end of this seminar, which you will have to fill out and select your preferred store where you can pick up this coupon. And you will have 30 days to do this. I'd like to introduce our speaker today. She is recognized as a woman of influence in natural health. Cheryl Grant is the president of Vitality Vitamins and Supplements, an award-winning line of products made in BC, Canada. Cheryl has spoken across Canada on key health conditions and ways to incorporate food, supplements, and lifestyle changes to support good health. With audiences of over 150 people, Cheryl brings humor, knowledge, and an easy to incorporate action plan to support your health. Lastly, I'd like to mention that if you have any questions throughout this presentation, feel free to enter them in the chat and they will be answered at the end. And I'll pass it on to Cheryl. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Anna. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. I was very excited when Choices offered me the opportunity to speak on one of my favorite topics, which is iron. And so this evening, we're going to talk about iron up, energy up. And I think that's something that all of us are looking for in our life, is to feel energized, to live our best. And so a lot of us can be impacted by various health conditions that can reduce that energy. So tonight, as Anna said, we're going to touch on a couple of different areas, including number one, understanding iron. We are going to talk about nutrition. Everything starts with nutrition, supplementation, and lifestyle. So we'll walk through each of the areas, like I say, and I'm looking forward to going through the presentation with you. So as mentioned, I am a manufacturer of vitamins and supplements. We are women-led and family-run. We're very proud of that. I'm actually one of the few female manufacturers of vitamins and supplements in Canada. And one of the things that drives me is women's health, and women are the primary people responsible for the health of those that we love and those around us. So it was kind of a natural progression for me and my family and our lifestyle to move into supplements. And over time, I also became a speaker and a regular person at retail stores and events, seminars, health shows across Canada speaking. And so I'm really happy to join you in your home. I do invite you to think about things differently tonight. This is really your opportunity. You joined this seminar on iron deficiency and energy because that is either impacting you or someone close to you. So really thinking about the information, the questions that you need to answer for yourself, and thinking about how can you incorporate things differently for yourselves. I'm not a doctor, but the information I provide you is from well-documented, researched information, my own personal staff over the years, naturopaths, doctors, nutritionists, as well as my own learning going through the health journey and through manufacturing. So Vitality is award-winning. I'm very proud that we're BC based, just like Choices. We've won over 12 Alive Health Awards, including Best New Supplement, Women's Choice. And part of that goes back to how efficient and effective the products are for changing the health of our customers. And that's really the reason why I'm here, is to support your health and to ensure that we live our healthiest lives possible. All of our products, like I said, are made in BC, and we guarantee our products and are proudly sold at over 600 retailers to show sort of that quality. So let's talk about what we're going to focus on this evening. So like I said, we're here to talk about iron up, energy up. So what are the factors that are impacting our overall energy? I think that's really important. It's not one or two things, but actually it can be a combination, and we don't always make those linkages. So I'm going to talk first about factors that affect our energy. Second is what a lot of us either suspect or we actually know either through tests and our doctors that we may be iron deficient. So I'm going to talk about the key causes of iron deficiency. And then I'm also going to talk about the signs and effects of iron deficiency and low energy on our body. So some of those signs that you can look for and what they do that impact our short-term and long-term health, and why it's so important for us to tackle these issues. The way that we get through those things is through looking, number one, at our nutrition. Number two is to speeding up the process to where we want to get through supplementation, and then focusing as well on lifestyle techniques to improve our overall energy and health. So that's kind of what I'm going to walk you through this evening. And of course, one of the biggest parts that we need to always focus on in our health is our healing, our rest, recovery, and relaxation. That's really core to overcoming any deficiency and building our overall energy. I actually find it interesting that over 70% of Canadians, as one of their top goals, is to actually increase our energy and get better sleep. Again, those two things go hand in hand. And as Anna mentioned, we're going to have a Q&A at the end. So you're welcome to put your questions in the chat box as we go, and I'll come back and answer those at the end. Anna will be filtering those, so feel free to ask your questions as we go. I am going to try and keep this to under an hour so that you can enjoy your evenings while also getting the information you came here looking for. So one of the first things I want to talk about is the key factors that impact our energy levels. So nutrition is core. One of the things that we have to understand is nutrient deficiencies lead to a depletion of our overall energy. One of the biggest ones is iron. Iron sometimes seems magical to people, or I don't understand, why am I not absorbing iron, or my iron is low. But what it is a nutritional deficiency. It means our body is not getting enough of it, or it's not absorbing enough of it. So these are very important. B12, a lot of people who are vegan or who have iron deficiency also suffer B12. A lack of B12 also reduces your overall energy. Vitamin D, we live in Canada. Most people are D deficient, and what D does is it's naturally created by our body by being in the sunshine. But during those winter months, a lot of us get that sad feeling, and that's because we're not getting enough light. So again, bringing in vitamin D and a multivitamin or even a supplementation, even getting outside, walking around, bringing in that extra vitamin D is so core to our overall health and enjoyment of our lives. Magnesium and iodine. Magnesium, a lot of people are understanding more and more, but this one I'm going to talk about later. Again, important for our overall health, and also, again, one of the things that provides relaxation and repair that allows us to increase our iron absorption and overall nutrients. And iodine. Iodine is actually the regulator of our thyroid. So all of these nutrients that I'm talking about, I'm not going to dive too deep into them, but it's very important to recognize that what you're eating and the quality of the food and how our body is absorbing them will make a big difference in our overall energy. So that's the number one that I want to talk about. Second of all, a lot of people don't realize, but you could be having a fantastic nutrient dense diet, but if you have poor digestion, your body's unable to absorb those nutrients. So this impacts us overall in our energy, and things that we talk about is inflammation. So on the outside, if we looked at our skin and we had red inflammation, we would know we needed to treat that. We can't see always what's going on inside, but a lot of the time, iron deficiency also is a sign of inflammation in the gut, which means that we are not absorbing the nutrient well enough. So it's important, if you have been someone who's been experiencing things like constipation, diarrhea, IBS or stress-related IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, all of these things can impact your overall energy as well as your iron absorption. So we're going to touch on that as well today, because I really want you to think about those overall lifestyle factors that could be impacting your overall health. And like I mentioned, that impacts your overall lack of absorption of nutrients, and it also is an irritation to the body. So some people who are taking supplementation will say that their gut is irritated by supplements, and that could be irritation already existing in the gut. Water intake. This is a big one, and I myself am guilty of this. I don't always drink as much water as I can. A lot of us fall into our day and then we realize that hours have passed without drinking water. So water intake is a big one that actually impacts our energy dramatically, and also impacts those first two areas that I talked about, nutrition and also digestion. exercise is so core to our overall health. I'm going to come back and talk about that. But if you are very sedentary, that is going to impact your body and your health. Stress management. Again, when our stress levels are high, our cortisol is high, which means that basically our body, again, has a form of inflammation and cannot absorb nutrients very well. So I'm listing these off for you because I really want you to think about, you came tonight to learn about Iron Up, Energy Up. So I want you to have a roadmap for your own personal health and considering these things as we go. Are these impacting me? And should I be looking at that in addition to just a simple solution of an iron supplement? Because at the end of the day, we want to overall impact our health, feel that energy, and have the best of our health. And that's really why it's important to think about how each of these areas is impacting us. The other areas are sleep and repair cycle. A lot of people report that they're having very poor sleep quality. They don't sleep well, they have interrupted sleep, and for various reasons. But remember, your sleep cycle is actually your repair cycle. And that goes back to, again, our absorption of our nutrients and our body's ability to repair itself so that we're at our best or our optimized level. So it's very important to think about our stress as well as our sleep as we're thinking about this. And of course, if there's ways we can reduce other impacts on our energy, like our environment around us, alcohol is continually shown to create inflammation in the gut and create impacts on our sleep and our overall health and wellness, including also medications also having an impact. So when we're talking about things, I just want you to really think about those areas, write them down. If something struck you as I was talking about that, get curious and explore a little bit more on that. Although we talked about all those certain areas, we also dismiss that sometimes it's one key nutrient that's missing and causing a lot of impact. And I found this stat very interesting from a study. 85% of women aged 18 to 55 complaining of tiredness and participating in a study had very low concentrations of iron in their blood. So 85% of women 18 to 55. So a lot of the time we do dismiss being tired as sleep and so forth. But again, one of the biggest concerns is actually nutrient deficiency. And this one from the World Health Organization, iron deficiency is the most common and widespread nutritional disorder in the world. Over 1.5 billion people affected. And the actually interesting thing about that is, number one, that's an extremely high number, especially when we consider all of the options available to people. And number two, that deficiency of iron is not just in third world countries, but we actually have some of the highest rates in developed countries like Canada and the United States. So why is that? And I think that's actually really important to think about is, number one, you're not alone. And this is a challenging struggle for a lot of people. This is a very science slide, but I just want you to understand what iron deficiency is. And this is when a lot of people get nervous when I'm talking. Why are we talking to this level? But actually, it's very important. Iron deficiency is exactly that. Iron is a nutrient, but the role that it plays in our body is very core to our overall health. So iron is basically that nutrient that is allowing us to carry oxygen through our body. So when we have healthy red blood cells, there's trillions of them across our body. And what they're doing is they're absorbing the oxygen that comes in through our lungs. And then those cells are, red blood cells are delivering the oxygen to our brain, to our heart, to our muscles. So it's very important that if we don't have enough iron in our diet and our nutrient, then what happens is our body becomes fatigued. And that's the first thing that you start to notice is that your iron is impacting your overall health. And so that's really the importance to knowing is when that oxygen is coming into our body, if we don't have enough iron in our body, in our cells, then we're not able to properly transport oxygen to our body. And if people hear the term hemoglobin, hemoglobin is basically what's carrying that oxygen around the body to service our tissues. And the second is ferritin. So ferritin is your storage tank for your iron. So if you think of your gas tank, you have so much gas in that tank. When it falls low, it means you have low ferritin levels, and that impacts your overall ability to carry your oxygen, and also it impacts your overall energy. So hopefully that's clear, but that's really important is what we're talking about tonight is iron, a nutrient that is so core. And a lot of us put away and say a lot of expressions you might even be familiar with. You know, when we talk about baby brain, a lot of the time that's iron deficiency in women, or, you know, I'm just tired. But actually, that means that we're not getting enough oxygen into our brain. Both of those are usually a lack of iron, lack of oxygen delivery to the brain, which impacts our focus. And so it's really important that we don't dismiss these signs that we're going to talk about, because as a healthy person, you have a high volume of red blood cells that are delivering lots of oxygen throughout your body. And when you don't have enough of iron coming into your body, it means you're not getting oxygen to your brain and even to your heart. And when you don't have enough, your heart is having to push harder, and that can have long-term implications. So it's good of you to be here tonight, because it means you really are trying to understand what's happening in your body and having the discussion. The other thing I want to mention while we're on this slide is there are tests to tell where your iron levels are, and you can ensure that you can get that done with a doctor. They can do that, or your naturopath. So always think about including them in your conversations. If they haven't brought it up to you, bring it up to them. That's part of having a test done, standard blood test. You can ask for that, and making sure that you are feeling that. There are signs and symptoms that will also tell you if you're iron deficient, but I always do encourage people, this is a great opportunity to look at your health and also even have tests on nutrients that can be tested in your blood. So what are the key causes of iron deficiency? Well, we talked about 85% of women between 18 to 55 becoming iron deficient in that one study. So blood loss is right in that area, menstruation. So the majority of people who are iron deficient are traditionally women and continue to be women. And that's because we have our menstruation period starting in our teenage years and running through to menopause. And during that time, once a month, we are losing substantial amount of blood, dependent on the person and the menstrual cycle. And so if you are someone who's struggling with iron deficiency to start with, this is also impacting your ability to increase that tank of iron stores because your body is being depleted. So again, we need to find ways to increase the iron so that we don't lose our energy, because this is part of our life and part of the lifestyle that we have to think about when we're considering our overall health. Second area is also blood donation. A lot of us do donate blood. We've tried to support those in our community, but what can happen is that we're losing large volumes of blood. That can be women and men, even teenagers. And so it's very important that during blood donation, that you make sure that you are allowing your body to recover between donations. And also that if you become iron deficient during this process, that it's something that you should be considering, because it probably means you're on the border of a healthy level and an iron deficiency. The third area is internal blood loss. This can occur from operations, but it can also occur from other issues that are going on in the body and should not be ignored. And so it's really important that iron deficiency, including in the intestines, when you have intestinal issues, if you ever have any blood in your stool, these things should be looked at right away. But these are the core reasons for iron deficiency. And one of the biggest one is, again, teenaged women through till menopausal women are one of the impacted group. The other area is actually pregnancy. 30% of women become iron deficient during pregnancy. And why is that? It's because the body requires such a higher volume of iron. So it's actually really important that during pregnancy or preparation for pregnancy, that you're increasing your iron in your diet or supplementation to ensure that you're not going to become deficient, and also be taking iron during your pregnancy. And the really interesting tip is iron deficiency in a mother is traditionally passed along as well to the child. So a lot of people who've struggled with iron deficiency since childhood, a lot of the times that can actually be something that occurred because their mother did go through iron deficiency. So really important that we look at these steps, because they continue to impact each of us as well as our family members or those that we love. And a mother's intention is always to have the healthiest baby and lifestyle possible. So pregnancy is actually a huge reason for iron deficiency, and another reason that women are the primary people within this category. Not talked about very often, but actually one of the reasons why iron deficiency is so prevalent in North America is obesity. We don't talk a lot about this. Every time I do a seminar, people are always so surprised to hear about obesity as one of the top reasons for iron deficiency. But I want you to think about that. If you're carrying extra weight, whether you're overweight or obese, what this means is that your body has to service a larger volume of tissue. So going back to that idea of having healthy red blood cells, if you have a larger frame, you're going to have to deliver more oxygen to the body. And actually, men carry more red blood cells than women do traditionally because, again, they're servicing a higher area of their body, higher mass of muscles in most cases. But obesity is now actually stepping in as one of these areas to consider. So very important is almost 40% of our population is now obese. And something to consider is the nutrition that you're eating nutrient dense enough to support you or supplementation required? And of course, the final area is diet. So we talked about nutrient density, poor food intake, poor absorption. We talked about digestion, inflammation of the gut, which doesn't allow for the absorption. And one of the growing areas is vegans and vegetarianism. And again, a lot of people who are vegans or vegetarians are usually not absorbing the same level of nutrients that are required, especially B12. And there is a correlation between a low B12, low healthy red blood cells, and low iron. So this is very important. And same thing, if you're an athlete, every time your foot strikes the ground, you're actually using up more iron. So a lot of people, whether they're on the healthier side of the lifestyle or they have areas for improvement, have the ability to be iron deficient. And iron deficiency, as we keep talking about, is the delivery of oxygen through your body. So really important when we're talking about the reasons is seeing where you fall on that spectrum. If you're someone who's a teenager, who's a vegan, then you may also have higher levels of iron deficiency than others around you. So make sure you're thinking about those impacts on your lifestyle. This is one of the ones that everyone always asks me about. What are the signs and symptoms of iron deficiency? So a lot of the time people will be told by their doctor, you're iron deficient, you're on the line, you'll be okay, take a supplement or look at your diet. I hear that a lot from people, but other people go undiagnosed or they're not quite sure what they should be looking for. So these are some very common signs of iron deficiency anemia and symptoms that you may be feeling if you have iron deficiency. So the first is extreme fatigue. If you are someone who's tired and there's not really a reason for it, this is probably one of the first signs that you're going to see. And again, it's because your body's not getting enough oxygen. The second is the same thing, that weakness, tired muscles, and strain. A great example is when you're walking up a flight or two of stairs and you feel winded. You feel like your muscles are really straining. And this is really an everyday activity that shouldn't be pulling on energy. But what that's actually telling you is that, again, you're not getting enough oxygen into these muscles. And that should be a sign to you to look at iron deficiency. Pale skin and brittle nails is actually when you're further along the road of iron deficiency. If you're really noticing a tone difference in your skin, your nails are becoming brittle and breaking very easily. This is actually a sign that your iron deficiency is further along. A lot of people think this is one of the first signs, but it actually means you have a lower iron stores in your body and that you probably are on the lower side. We move past that to bigger areas of concern, and that includes chest pain. We talked about when the oxygen isn't reaching our body, our heart is actually pumping harder. I also want this to be something to think about because women, again, we're iron deficient. We don't want to be putting additional pressure on our heart, but our heart has to pump harder to ensure that we're getting the oxygen through our body into our brain, into our muscles, into our legs as we're doing our activities. So it's very important to recognize that if you're ever feeling chest pain, you're feeling arrhythmia, fast heartbeat, a shortness of breath, these are all signs that you need to look into iron deficiency as well as speak to a doctor. You don't want to be dismissing that as, oh, I've had a long week. I don't think it's been going on that long. It'll probably be better when I go on vacation. These sorts of things are what we call dismissive, and it's very important for us not to dismiss them. This one I hear a lot from people is lightheadedness or seeing spots before your eyes. When you sit up too fast in the morning, you sort of see spots. That's a sign that you're iron deficient. A lot of people tell me that, and then they go and get tested and they're like, yes, yes, I was. Cold hands and feet, inflammation or soreness of your tongue is again another further down the road one, and again, a sign of B12. B12 deficiency. And then there's also unusual cravings of non-nutritive substances. So this includes people who like to eat ice, dirt, or even paper because their body is trying to send them a signal that they're in need of nutrients. So if you're one of those people who's secretly doing that, you love chewing on ice or you're not sure why, but you chew on things like toilet paper or tissues, which is apparently quite common with deficiencies, this is another sign for you to look into this disorder. So it's not a disorder, I should say, it's a nutrient deficiency. So your body is trying to send you direct signals that you have a deficiency. And of course, poor appetite starts to show in children. Children, again, do experience nutrition D, and overall, you start to see things like reoccurring infections and reduced immunity. So we really want to stamp this out. And that's why I said, we really want to focus on understanding what's going on the body. If you, while I was going through that list, and I did make it a bit more exhaustive because I really want you to think about that, all the ways that it's impacting your body. So if you're at the beginning of that cycle, let's nip that in the bud and get nutrition and supplementation in your front path, feel that energy coming up. And if you're further down that list, then start thinking about what am I seeing? What should I be acting on? And also considering having that discussion with a healthcare professional because you want to ensure that you're doing the best for your body. I'm going to start on nutrition here. As I said, everything starts with nutrition. When we have a nutritional deficiency, it means our body isn't getting enough of a nutrient. So one of the first things people always need to know is what type of nutrition you should be adding into your diet or considering. And one of the first things is the meats. That's why a lot of vegans and vegetarians actually are iron deficient. They have to really consider the type of food they're eating, but they can do it with balance. And that's really important, is starting to take out things that can cause inflammation in the gut, things like sugars, starches, things that may not be beneficial to your body, and incorporating things that will really support your body. And those are very healthy proteins. So those could be red meat, liver. My grandmother used to make that when I was a child. I haven't made it since, but turkey, shellfish, quinoa. Quinoa is a fantastic nutrient dense superfood. So again, that's works for vegetarian, vegan, and regular diet. So this is a great one. Spinach, bringing in those green leafy vegetables are actually very dense in iron, very good. So spinach, broccoli, legumes, pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds are fantastic. I use those a lot on salads, and dark chocolate. So substituting out some of those other cravings that you may have and bringing in a little bit of dark chocolate, another area to incorporate into nutrition. The other thing is thinking about how those foods can work with each other. That's not an exhaustive list, but I would encourage you to look into things that really interest you and then to start prepping some of those meals and also thinking about how they can pair together. So pair iron-rich foods with vitamin C. Vitamin C actually supports the absorption of iron. So that's really important whether we're taking a supplement or we're eating food sources. So for example, citrus fruits and bell peppers, those are fantastic to incorporate in with like a bell pepper with a quinoa, using citrus fruits in your salads, sprinkling your lemon on top of broccoli. These are all fantastic ways to incorporate your foods together to actually pull that iron richness into your body and support your iron absorption. The other thing you want to do is avoid calcium-rich foods. Calcium is actually one of the blockers of our other minerals, of which iron is. So you want to make sure you're not eating a lot of calcium-rich foods, things like milk with your meals. That can be a blocker, or if you're taking a supplement, taking that away from your food as well as iron supplements. The other thing you want to consider is if you could even change your cookware, cast iron skilletware and avoid coffee and caffeine. So many people in the morning, especially drinking their coffee. Coffee is an irritant, it creates inflammation, but in addition to that, it actually inhibits absorption. So a lot of the positive things you could be doing can be inhibited by coffee. And one of the top things I hear from people is, can I take my supplement with coffee? And the answer is, please don't. So just thinking about those things, but think about your nutrition, thinking about ways that you can eliminate certain items that might be causing inflammation or are not nutrient dense, and bringing in those nutrient dense foods. And water. Water is your body's most important nutrient. It helps facilitate the chemical reactions that produce energy from food. Please put this on your list of to do. Like I said, I'm one of them who's always working on it as well, but that is such an important support for your overall digestive health and your ability to absorb nutrient dense foods, and support your body as well in the processes to allow it to absorb iron to deliver that oxygen. So now that we're talked about nutrition, I said that at the top, what I'm going to talk about is understanding iron, understanding the signs, and then I'm going to talk about supplementation. So the number one thing we always want to do for the long term is focus on our overall lifestyle and our nutrition. How can we start with nutrition? But when we've got an empty tank, it's very challenging to increase our iron absorption rapidly. And that's where supplementation comes in. So that's one of the biggest things that I always say to people is nutrition is your foundation. Supplementation is always going to be your way to increase the speed at which you're able to achieve your results and ensure that you're getting adequate levels. So one of my nutritionists actually came up with that analogy of the gas tank, and every day our body needs so much iron to maintain our daily stores. So what we need in our day. What happens, however, is the majority of people, they'll only fill up what they use that day. And so what that means is if you have already depleted the tank or the tank is low, it's very challenging to fill it back up by just taking a maintenance level. And so when the World Health Organization said there's so many solutions, yet this is so prevalent, why is that? It's because majority of people are taking supplements or increasing their nutrients to only hit a maintenance level or less. So when we look at a lot of the products in the marketplace, the majority of products are 15 milligrams or less. And what's important about that is 15 milligrams or less is only a daily maintenance. What that means is if we were to look at a lot of the vitamins and supplements in the marketplace, even a daily multivitamin is about 10 to 15 milligrams. That means that that's the maintenance dose. So if you yourself are iron deficient, or you recognize now the signs from our discussion about being iron deficient, it means you need a higher level of nutrients. And the other problem is that a lot of nutrients are only focused on iron, but our body needs so much more to be successful in increasing our iron levels. So I'm going to talk with you about a couple solutions that Vitality has come forward with. And the first one is why I was invited to speak is our Power Iron Plus Organic Spirulina. This product is actually transforming so many people's lives because they have iron deficiency and they've been taking supplements that haven't worked for them, either because they've caused a lot of irritation to their gut, meaning that they had constipation, upset stomach, or they didn't see their iron levels increase rapidly when they were looking for those type of results. And so one of the things that we did was looked at what's going on with the iron market and why is it that these products aren't always working for people. And one of the most important things that we found is, although there's a range of iron, 45 milligrams is actually the highest level of iron in a natural health product, which is what we put into the Vitality Power Iron. Why it's called Power Iron is that that's the highest level in a natural health product. But actually, we go back to that beginning that I was talking about, those healthy red blood cells. We need to make sure, first of all, that we can build those healthy red blood cells. And actually, there's two key vitamins or nutrients that build the volume of healthy red blood cells, and that's folate or folic acid and vitamin B12. So those two nutrients actually build your volume and the health of your red blood cells so that your body can actually absorb the iron. And so one of the things that we've did with Vitality is that we've really made this a 5-in-1. Most products, a 1000 microgram of vitamin B12 or a folate is a product in itself. We've actually put them together. So when you take this product, it's almost like 3 doses of iron. So 45 milligrams of iron bisglycinate. Iron bisglycinate is the most gentle on the body. It's also been shown to have almost double the absorption of other iron formats. So what this means is that first of all, you're taking a 1-a-day supplement, and that 1-a-day creates consistency, and it's going to help increase your iron levels so that B12, that folic acid are working in harmony. They're building your volume of healthy red blood cells. And then that way your body's able to absorb the iron and use that to deliver oxygen to your body. I'm really proud of this product because it has literally transformed so many people's lives. And I could talk about iron all day long because I know the impact that it has on people's health and how much this has changed people's health. Vitamin C, we talked about acidity. We talked about that in nutrition. Same thing here. We put vitamin C in there, which is a cofactor of iron. And the last thing that we put in there is actually called spirulina. Spirulina is known as a superfood, and it's actually clinically proven that spirulina acts as almost like a hand to pull the iron into the red blood cell. So we've added another factor in there to really support that absorption. The really nice thing about this is that it doesn't irritate or cause constipation to the body. And you're also going to see your elevation of your iron stores very quickly, which is what we want to feel is our iron increase. The other thing is B12. By bringing more B12 into our body, that also adds energy a lot faster to our everyday. So this is very important for when you're looking to increase that iron. Like I said, want to focus on your nutrition, but supplementation is going to expedite that so much faster and fill in that tank. So this product was really intended to fill in the tank and noticeable results for you. Most people will ask me as well, when should I be taking this? We actually recommend taking iron in the evening after a meal. The reason this is when you take it with food, it can actually cause interference of the absorption of your iron. And also your body's cortisol is lower in the evening. So again, your body's able to absorb those nutrients and use it during your sleep and repair cycle. So many people tell me they take their iron in the morning, especially liquids, while they're at home having their breakfast, or that they are taking it with their coffee. And this is again impacting one of the reasons why your iron is not going up. You want to be taking this with water. You want to be taking it following a meal and away from other medications to ensure that you're getting the best benefit and really feeling the difference of your energy. We're not standing in a store, but I'm just going to touch on a couple of products here for you. So you can actually see, because people have told me this really assists them in seeing that difference. So here's some of the top products in the marketplace. Again, the Vitality Power Iron, a 1-a-day, makes it very easy for you. What you're going to see though is that iron level, that 45 milligrams of iron bisglycinate, one of the best sources, almost double the absorption of a lot of other products, whereas our other products in the marketplace are at that maintenance level or slightly above it. And so we really want to elevate that iron. And then I talked about that B12 and that folate. This is really the standout. When you have that B12 in there, that folate is not even a comparison. That's why you're building that volume of healthy red blood cells. One of the things I say to people is the other thing is we say healthy red blood cells, but what does that look like? If you think of a flat soccer ball versus a filled soccer ball, if you kick one, it's going to go a lot further. And that's the point. You want to make those healthy red blood cells that's going to absorb the iron and carry it through your body and last longer. This is so important because the iron is building that hemoglobin. That's the supporting the delivery of oxygen again to your brain, to your heart, to your muscles, and you're going to notice a difference because you're building your iron levels as well as your overall healthy red blood cells. And that's really going to make the difference for you. People always ask me why I do what I do. And this was an email from a woman actually here in BC. Jeannie, I received this email, and this is actually condensed But just to give you an idea of how impactful the products and supplementation can be, your product saved my life. My ferritin, that's your iron stores, was down to 2. That's dramatically low. I have had 4 blood transfusion and seen numerous doctors, including one of the top GI specialists in Canada. They said my blood doesn't absorb iron, my body doesn't absorb iron, and I'll need infusions for life. While at a store, I was recommended to Power Iron and organic spirulina. I took 1 capsule every night. In 1 month, I was up to 24. It's now 33. That's closing in on normal. Thanks to you, I'm done with blood transfusions and iron infusions, no more IVs. Thanks to you, your product has literally saved my life. That's very impactful. And one of the things that I love is how much a product can help elevate people's overall health and their energy. Jeannie's actually a grandmother now, as well as she's a kindergarten teacher. So she said to me for almost 20 years, she was coming home and sleeping on the couch. She tried everything and she never had the energy to fulfill how she wanted to be living her lifestyle. And in her 50s, she's now been able to achieve that. I think that's very impactful because when we talk about teenagers right through to adults and seniors, we want to maintain that energy. We want to feel our best. And the other thing that we did is based on feedback from our customers and also our retailers is we introduced the Daily Iron. So I talked about pregnancy. Daily Iron is a fantastic product to take with a prenatal or the Power Iron, but basically this product is tailored to a lower dose. You can take 1 to 3 a day. And what you're going to notice there is a lower dosing. So we talked about that maintenance level. So once you get your iron stores up, or if you're also someone who's wanting to take it during your menstruation time frame, these allow you the ability to use it as you need. This is also an example is my teenage niece is taking the Daily Iron. Her mother is on the Power Iron, and both are able to achieve their optimal health levels. And so really great is to have the balance between the two. I also recommend the Daily Iron a lot of the times for teenagers, for men, for vegans, and again, a great one for women who have been able to elevate their iron stores and now are looking to maintain it. Talk quite a bit about which one that is, and I'm just going to touch on a couple additional essentials that can support you in your health journey. The first one I'm actually going to touch on is our time release B complex plus vitamin C. We've talked about energy up, and I always say I always take my B complex plus vitamin C. Vitamin Bs give you your bounce. They're your energy. They're your energy converters. So B vitamins, the family of B vitamins work best together. And the other thing they do is they increase your body's ability to convert food to energy. So when you're someone who's finding that you're falling off in the afternoon, you're tired, you're reaching for a coffee or a latte, reach for your B complex instead. The B complex is going to give you energy. And the other thing the vitamin C in it does is it repairs and supports your body. If you're someone who's under a lot of stress, C vitamins actually support your body. And that allows you again to increase your overall absorption of your nutrients, including your iron. So this is a fantastic one. Also supports your overall hair, skin, nails. Again, those brittle nails, B vitamins, specifically biotin, really support that. Another one that a lot of people, if you're not taking a multivitamin, this is another great one to add into your daily way of taking products. And that's because you're going to support your body, especially not only with the vitamins. I talked about vitamin D deficiency. So adding in extra vitamin D, adding in our vitamin core vitamins, but also adding in a little bit extra iron here. But most importantly is actually that one at the bottom of the minerals list, iodine. Iodine, so important to your overall regulation of your thyroid, your overall hormones. This is really going to support a lot of people with their overall health. And again, allowing your body to be working at its most optimal level to absorb iron and nutrients naturally. So I always say to people, when you're looking at supplements, I personally take my multivitamin in the morning. Your body's gone through its famine circle. In the evening, as you've been sleeping, it's been repairing. So you wake up, you add those nutrients to your body. That's going to give you a burst of energy, support you through your day. At lunchtime, add in your B vitamin. That's going to continue to carry your energy through. And then you take your iron product after dinner, about an hour or so later, you're really going to notice that you're filling in those nutritional gaps. You're going to get your energy up at the same time you're starting to bring in new healthy nutrients through your food to really notice an increase in your energy, your overall appearance, your skin, your hair, your nails, and most important, your zest for life. There's nothing better than just feeling energetic for your day. And that's very important. It also allows us to get deeper sleep at nighttime. I am going to touch on this one quickly as well, because if you're someone who has any of those dietary issues that I mentioned, where you're not absorbing the nutrients because you have inflammation in the gut, if you know you have gas, bloating, acid reflux, you're going to have a very hard time to ensure that you're absorbing nutrition without reducing some of that inflammation in your gut. So I do recommend people to take a digest, even over a 3-week period. What this does is it's actually a natural ingredient. It's golden seal and papaya enzyme. It breaks down all of the bad bacteria that builds up in the gut, and it actually triggers our own natural secretions. So what that's doing is it breaks down the bad bacteria. It allows the body to absorb our nutrients. And as nature's antibiotic, golden seal, that's actually going to reduce that inflammation. So again, we're feeling the difference in our overall energy and supporting our body. So digest, you take before a meal, 1 to 2 tablets before each meal. Do that over a 3-week cycle. That's also going to dramatically increase your ability to absorb. And if you're someone who does have any of those symptoms that we talked about, constipation, diarrhea, or ongoing issues with digestion where you feel like you have gas or your digestive system is easily irritated, this is a really great one to incorporate into your daily health. I'm not going to go too far into this other than to let you know that collagen is touted for our external appearance of the reducing fine lines, but the same is true of our digestive tract. Collagen builds our digestive tract, our soft tissues. So again, if you're someone with irritation of the gut, or you're noticing that you do have irritation, collagen is actually a fantastic nutrient to incorporate. It's a protein, and it's coming from fish source off the coast of Canada. But I drink collagen every day. What that's doing is it's allowing collagen, your body's collagen naturally deteriorates after the age of 25. So we're now actually supplementing back in what our bodies slowed down the process, so that we're actually adding that back in, which allows for firmer, soft tissues. So again, same thing as the outside appearance is the inside of the appearance. And it's also been clinically shown that if you are short on biotin, you have a higher level of digestive issues. So again, that B vitamin, I've talked about biotin a couple of times. It's in the multi, it's in the B complex, and it's also here in this product. So those are really important. Hopefully that hit on some of the things for you with iron deficiency, with energy. Supplementation is so core to getting those energy levels up by filling in those nutrient gaps. And so hopefully those have given you some rules of to support you in terms of identifying where you may have some gaps and which ones can support you. They can all be taken together. And the last thing I'm going to touch on in our time tonight is just the stress and repair cycle, because I think this is really important to address. Again, the top things we talked about for why people are experiencing low iron and how do we get our iron up. We talked about blood loss. We talked about lifestyle factors, and we also need to address our overdrive of our nervous system. So when we have high stress, a lot of us are living with high stress, that's overworking our nervous system. What that means is that we're increasing cortisol, which reduces our ability to absorb nutrients. It leads to the inflammation we talked about in the gut. And it overall impacts our enjoyment of life, and that takes away overall energy. The good news is all of these things can be turned around. And that's one of the things that I always say to people is it can feel overwhelming when we think about all of these things, nutrition, supplementation, lifestyle. but none of these things happened overnight. So taking your list, writing down the things that you've learned tonight and applying what you can do makes such a big difference. And number one is actually knowledge, learning about them, thinking about them, and how to apply them. So one of the things we talked about was exercise. Our nervous system can actually be, slowed and brought back to a norm by recognizing when we're in a moment that we're feeling anxious or we're in overdrive. Some of the things include breathing, just slowing down, taking those deep breaths. And then things like exercise, taking even 10 minutes after we've eaten a meal to walk around. A lot of us fall into the evening lifestyle of watching television, eating at dinner table or even on the couch, and then not moving. So again, bringing that stress out of our day, and even in the office, taking that 10 minutes after a lunch to walk around. And also a good way to see where you are in terms of your overall abilities. Because like I said, if you are someone with iron deficiency, you may find that a challenge. So you can also find excitement by seeing yourself progress, reducing that feeling, and really feeling confident in yourself. So, this is very important, considering our stress, the impact that stress has on our digestion and digestion on our overall stress. They are interconnected. So it's very important to work on both of them at the same time. That impact on our overall cognitive health, meaning our ability to focus, make good decisions, be aware and enjoying the moment with people instead of realizing we haven't quite been in the conversation. So really important is to be present. And again, but when we stabilize our nervous system, when we bring in those nutrients, we live a much more engaged life. And again, during times of stress, our body is burning through vitamin C and B vitamins at a higher rate. So also bringing that into consideration. I will just touch on a couple of products. I'm not going to go too far, but if you are someone who's having a lot of stress or sleep issues, there are also supplements that you can bring into your lifestyle to support with both stress and sleep. The first one I actually use myself quite a bit, and I really love this product. We developed it starting for children, and then we actually brought it in for adults. But the magnesium in chamomile, magnesium supports relaxation of the muscles, supports over 300 functions of the body. And then what we actually did is we brought into that chamomile, not a flavoring, but actually the therapeutic herb. So chamomile is very calming to the overall body, the nervous system. It calms the digestive system, and it even calms the bladder. So allowing you to have a deeper, relaxed sleep, and you drink that warm like a tea. So it's very therapeutic and calming to the body. And this is a great one to incorporate as part of your lifestyle, to take that time at the end of your evening. If you are someone who doesn't care for the taste of chamomile but still want the benefits, then there are also the capsules. I personally love it. It tastes like a lightly honeyed chamomile tea and a very relaxing way to end the day and just feel calm going into bed. The other one that we have is actually the Relax, and this is for people who are stimulated throughout the day, which means that you feel more stressed throughout your day. You're feeling like you have a lot of anxiety. You might be someone who's waking up with tension in your stomach, tension in your neck, you're grinding your teeth at nighttime. All of these are signs of stress that need support, and this is a fully natural solution. So you can take it as you need it. It works within 10 to 15 minutes, and it's just a tiny little tablet, and it has a magic ingredient in there, which is called cramp bark. And cramp bark actually releases the tightness of the soft tissue. So soft tissue in our stomach, that's why that cramping, it sends a signal to the brain, we're calm, and it releases all of the muscles throughout our body, and that's really allows us to relax. This one's also very beneficial for people who are going through intermittent stress or ongoing stress. It's just a very nice support to the body, reducing that cortisol and supporting your body overall. So that's our time with each other. I wanted to take a few minutes to answer some questions, but again, iron up, energy up. We've talked across a few areas, but the number one thing is the factors that affect our energy. We delved quite deep into that. Really think about those lifestyle choices that you're making and how they are impacting you question, is it nutrition? Is it also things like lifestyle? Are there lifestyle choices that can be made to support your overall health? And that may have been digestion that you hadn't considered before, or even the way that you're pairing your foods together. And then, of course, we talked about the key causes of iron deficiency. We talked about the 4 leading reasons, including the fact that women, menstruation. We talked about lifestyle factors, including veganism and athletics, and even being overweight, and the need for higher iron support. So those are very important. And then we talked about the signs and effect of iron deficiency and low iron. So one thing I really want you to take away is, do not ignore the fact that if you think you have a deficiency, or you know you do, definitely look at opportunities for supplementation, and even engaging in conversations with your doctor or testing to see that your iron levels are not low, and how to increase them. So we also then jumped into our nutrition, supplements, and lifestyle techniques to improve energy. And of course, at the end, we talked about that healing, that rest cycle, that's really going to support your energy. So one of the things I hope you take away from tonight is, it's not all done with just one thing, but it's actually a combination of several factors. And I hope that the information that I provided you tonight supports you in your overall health, and that Vitality can be a part of that. And if you do have any questions, we are here to support you. Anna mentioned at the beginning that there's nutritionists at all of the Choices stores. They do nutrition tours. All of the Vitality products that I talked about with you tonight are available at Choices. And you can also reach out to me at hello@vitality.ca, and I'm available to help answer any questions that you may have. And you can also learn more on our website, which is vitality.ca, or findmyvitality.com. And of course, we're open to a question and answer with Anna now.
Hi, thank you so much for the presentation. It was very interesting. And I am looking at the chat and I'm not seeing any questions as of yet. We are in a bit of a lag with the live stream, so we'll just wait a little bit to see if anyone has any questions that they think of now.
No problem.
And yeah, but yeah, thank you so much. That was very, very interesting. And yeah, iron is very important, especially for us women. So
Yeah,
I'm glad
I
we're able
think
to educate people on that.
agree, Anna. Yeah, the number one I always say to people is, you never want to overlook a deficiency. It can have long-term implications on your health, and especially our heart health, our overall energy. Really important for women to look at that. I know there's probably men listening this evening, also who may be having iron deficiency, but definitely dominated by women. And really important to learn about iron and bring that into your lifestyle.
Yes. Uh, yeah, I'm not seeing any questions. If anyone can think of anything, they can always come find our wellness department is more than happy to answer any questions, or I'm sure you can reach out to Cheryl through the email she provided if you can think of anything after this presentation that you'd like cleared up. So yeah,
Fantastic. Thanks again.
thank you. And thank you everyone for tuning in and listening.